Chris.
Yes.
I'll set up. I like the idea.
Oh, I'm gonna throw I'm gonna throw the screen up for you. You can just push the button yourself too if you. Oh, I got to make you co-host though. Hang on.
Caitlin.
Yes.
What I normally do at the beginning is I just like give a 2-3 minute spiel about you just to introduce you. Are you happy for me to do that?
I think that would be lovely.
Because Tim's got the best announcer voice ever. I love it.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, you do. You totally.
You and
do.
Caitlin both have. Okay, we can't leave Steven Sato out of it too, Mr. Podcaster over there.
I actually think probably. I mean,
off the stage, okay?
I'm including Bill in my mind. I feel like all of us here present in this room have compelling voices, and
Absolutely.
like when Chris speaks, I'm like, oh wow, that's it. You've got a nice relaxing cadence. It's really great.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway.
Look at that. He's an owner of a new Educators in VR shirt here.
What can I say? I wish I had a full body, but I'm in a quest.
Yeah. I pointed out the Incredible Hulk action happening on his left sleeve. Do you see it?
I do. He's busting out, man. This guy. Look at that. Ooh, look at those muscles.
Awesome. All right. I'm just taking a sip of coffee in case you wonder why my hands are wonky right now. I'm trying to sip coffee with my headset is really hard.
Okay, Tim, I'm going to make you co-host as well.
Okay.
It's just you never know. So all right.
Appreciate that.
I got the power. Okay.
We're going to do something cool here today that hasn't, I love it when I get impressed on the platform by new things.
You didn't know that could happen? Oh, are you playing a video that's important to stay up there?
No, not at all.
Okay, because I'm looking at my media.
Hey, Chris, you want to, I fell off. Chris, do you want a little plug?
Yeah.
Do I want to do what?
If I go to selfie camera, oh no, there's your full body. You weren't full body before. That's bizarre. In the selfie camera, you were just a head.
Oh, in the selfie camera, that is true.
Oh, okay.
Because he is on a Windows machine, and Windows don't get to see their whole body.
I see what happens. If I do that, I get rid of the cool ambient music. I like the ambient music.
Yeah, I got nothing. Oh, no music.
Well, no, it's Chris was playing this lovely thing, and I just overrided with my slides.
That music was from our portal in the forest, Caitlin.
Oh, I love it.
But it was lovely.
Should we go back to that? And I know how to start my slides when.
Sure. Yeah, we can go a little until everyone gets here and we start. Yeah.
Is have you started the live stream yet, Chris?
It is started. Are you seeing anything on your end? I was just given that new key.
Yeah.
Oh, I
can see it.
Beautiful. Unfortunately, everyone's going to get it through my view, which means it's going to be a little all over the place.
Oh, that's what I look like. Oh, right, okay.
Chris, I was wondering something.
Yes.
In my tablet, do I need to click on the slides to advance them, or can I do something without them showing to make them move?
You just you can just hit the image itself on the tablet. You can hit the next arrow key on your tablet, or the arrows at the bottom. Either one.
But if I don't want my tablet, is there any way to make those slides go? Oh, I can. My joystick. Okay.
How did you? I didn't know you could do that.
I did it with my. When in doubt, test it out.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You can just do this through.
Watch.
Okay.
Watch. I close my tablet. Okay. All I have are my hands.
Let's see the
tablet.
magic.
Oop. Oh. Huh. Well, I thought it worked.
Another way you could do it is you could stand over here to the side and pull up. Actually, you probably want to do it on this side because we're going to have some action on that side of the stage. Pull up your other menu here, and then you can or off to the side, and then take a few steps away from it. You can always do it that way too, because nobody else is going to see that menu. Only you will.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to use my tablet.
Okay.
I'm just going to use it because it's easier. It's more intuitive. But I'll let you put up the music as people come in.
Yeah. We got your clock up there for you.
I got it. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. I'll go down here. Oh, Tim, do you want to introduce me while I'm on stage, or do you care which way I am?
Either, whatever you're comfortable with. What I'll then do is I'll then move off to the side so I'm out of the way.
Okay. Well,
should we give it just 2 more minutes?
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that okay?
Yeah, we're just now at the top of the hour.
I think that's
I see
great.
people dropping in here.
Yeah. We'll
So
give them a
I'll
minute and just...
Yeah. Tim, I'll start here, and then when you're on the side viewing, I think it would be really cool, probably from the front row, if you wanted to sit there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because we have some things.
The front
happening.
row will be interesting. Let's just leave it at that.
Hi, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
No, you're not gonna get motion sick. You'll be okay. You'll be all right.
No motion sickness, Steven.
Yeah. No motion sickness.
I'm so sorry. It probably took you a day to recover from. I gave you like the mega dose the other day.
I know. I didn't swallow anything.
We got sunburned Brian appearing again.
Right.
Oh boy.
I put on all kinds of lotion, but it didn't help. I don't know why. Just
Love it.
still hurts.
Was it virtual lotion?
Yeah. Well, obviously that's why it didn't work. It was virtual. I learned.
Let this be a lesson. Don't go out on the moon's surface without lotion.
That is what it was.
Hi, Anna.
I went outside and I had no
How are
face.
you?
Finally.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Woo. I like your pinstripes. Nice to see you today. Happy post-Valentine's Day.
Santo.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
too.
Great.
I'm
I mean, it
Brian.
was, yeah. I couldn't make it.
Oh, your
just
voice
couldn't
works
make
now.
it.
Oh, no,
Earlier it
no.
didn't or something,
I
right?
like
Well,
the thought
heard
of you
earlier,
out
right?
having fun.
Yeah.
That's
I
great.
was
And then I came on another station with Chris here and showed me around and what you've been doing and all the stuff.
So I
So,
think,
but
I think I seen you
after
earlier,
that,
but maybe
Oh,
couldn't
you'll
talk.
get it.
Anyways.
I have
I will really find a slot and attend your station
Just
for today. I
Even
mean,
being
Just
here,
being here.
being here now, you're
I
gonna
can't
get
hear
a
much.
lot.
It's
Yeah.
loud over
Yeah,
there, so I
yeah.
can't hear you much. So,
I'm sorry. I knew.
no.
Everybody's
I-
ambient voices. Okay,
Right.
we're getting ready to start, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
stand over on the
I'm
side.
better. Is
Okay.
that better? Is that better?
Yeah, it is. And FYI, we do have a live stream going here as well.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying to everybody, be
I
aware.
know.
You're always
Being
assume
recorded.
you're being recorded in virtual
Yeah.
reality.
Sorry, I need to be on the other
Right.
side.
It's
Sorry.
kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
'cause
Oh
sometimes
Anna,
I get a
I
little
was
too
gonna tell
excited.
you, when you have a chance, sitting in the front row is gonna be awesome. If you
Oh,
Okay.
yes, that's where I recommend for a good view. Ha.
right. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend everyone to sit in the front row if you have a choice. Because we're virtual and why not?
Right.
And then you
Right.
get a good view.
Mhm.
I love that David has an astronaut suit still on. It's super.
Hello, Anna.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Oh,
the
Brian.
atmosphere.
Hi, Jay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you want everybody muted, Caitlin, or?
I think for talking, just in case there's ambient noise, that would be wise. And we all
Yeah.
have, Chris is mming.
Right.
We have
Chris is
we
used to
have
it.
our master controls, so we can
Absolutely.
unmute as
I mean,
needed.
if everybody
Yeah.
wants to just mute themselves, that would be great, or we can go in and mute you. We're going to start in just a minute, and what I'm going to do is just to introduce Caitlin. I mean, I'm sure you all know who Caitlin is, but I'll just do a formal introduction, and then I'll hand over to Caitlin, and then at the end, if we have any questions, then we can ask them at the end. Okay. So we'll just have one more minute, and then we'll make a start. So if you'd like to mute yourselves, please. We are on live stream, so be aware that you are being recorded. And if you sit nearer the front, your experience is more guaranteed. Okay, I think we'll make a start, Caitlin, if that's okay.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, great. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for coming along. This is the presence and mindfulness with a dose of neuroscience in VR. So we are with Caitlin Krause. She's the founder and CEO of Learning Design
Tim?
Futurist.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm experiencing an echo of your voice.
It's already
your voice
taken care of.
Sound.
We're good.
Okay. So I didn't know if you wanted to kind of restart.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hearing myself and I'm thinking,
it's totally fine.
I was working through it in the hope that I was the only one who could hear it, but obviously not. Right.
It's
okay,
just your voice is too beautiful, so we need to hear it twice.
Thanks. Okay, thank you everybody for coming along. We're here with Caitlin Krause for the Presence and Mindfulness with a Dose of Neuroscience in VR session. We're here in this wonderful moon base that's been created in the Engage platform. And Caitlin is the founder and CEO and learning design futurist of MindWise. She specializes in UX design, story and well-being in XR. She works as a script writer and a VA/AR story designer in digital therapeutics with a focus on mental health VR using mindfulness, guided imagery, HCD, biofeedback, BA, and CBT. She's the founder of the consultancy MindWise, and Caitlin launched her book Mindful by Design, which was published in 2019 by Corwin Press, at the World Economic Forum, and spoke about the future of education, sci-fi, and immersive technology. Through her leadership and organizational consulting, she helps individuals and teams create connection in the midst of complexity and change. She recently created a mindfulness and SEL series in social VR, fusing presence, storytelling, curiosity, and emotional intelligence. And if I may also say, she's also an excellent poet. So without further ado, I shall move out of the way. And Caitlin, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I'll give you a hug.
Thank you. I'm in 2D.
Immersive hug. Thanks so much for your kind welcome. This is great. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this time with you in community, not just on stage, but also in the audience at different sessions. I look around the room and see a lot of familiar faces. So first off, I just wanted to start with the word gratitude. I know already we've had some special sessions today, and just inspiring you or inviting you to take a moment just to be joyful, be grateful for being here and having this ability, I don't underestimate it, to be able to come to the moon landing site, be together in community. You know, it really is something that is wondrous, and it's my privilege to be up here sharing some of the stories. Of course, you know, we're just going to gloss over a few details, and there's never enough time in an hour. So I put up at the beginning just this idea to start where we are, and also to back up and let people know if you have more things that you're curious about, please reach out to me. I have lots of resources and research and details, and it's my passion and motivation to be able to share them with you. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna just take a moment. I have to remind myself often when I'm traveling places, doing different exercises that are really hands-on, to just start with an idea of being where we are. So as we look at the idea of mindfulness and presence, it's really an intentional choice to drop in on the moment with yourself. So I'm inviting you to just take a breath where you are in your seat and just intentionally drop in on this moment with yourself. And as I do that, I'm reminding myself that I choose to be here in this moment. I choose to have this experience, and I'm open to some of the surprises that might happen along the way. Thank goodness this is not a simulation. You know, this is something that's happening for each of us in live time in our own free way. You know, we get to choose how to approach it, and we get to acknowledge our own presence. So that's pretty cool in itself. Now, I think this is especially funny because behind this is another Earth that was put in on this virtual world. And it's a moment of wonder for me just looking at it. Claude Nicollier is the first Swiss astronaut who went into space, and he had all this engineering training. And when he was interviewed after he went into orbit, he said that that moment of looking down on the Earth was one of complete wonder. He knew his stuff, he knew his skills, but he dropped all sense of being in his own head, computing and thinking, and he just stared at the earth with a sense of wonder. And for me, hearing him share that story, they have a word for that for astronauts. It's called the overview effect. And for me, I experience this all the time in VR. And I know you can't cheer and shout, but just, raise your hand above your head if you've ever felt like that yourself. Like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm in my body, but I'm also out of my body at the same time. Yeah, that sense of wonder and connection is really something that VR has a possibility to build on in a way that I think is unique. And it's something that maybe in these beginning stages, sometimes we take for granted and we move on to the next stage. But if we think about in our bodies, what's happening with this wonderscape, a lot of that has to do with mindfulness and presence and just both being in yourself and losing yourself in this experience. So with that wonder idea, connection is my mission. Like, my mission is to empower connection for each individual, for each group. So mindfulness and social emotional learning, they happen all the time as a base layer in really great educational planning. So if we think about our education mission, to have learners deeply connected and to have ourselves deeply connected in this experience as we're building in VR is part of what makes it special, makes it meaningful, and makes learners feel like they're really there and part of the learning in an engaged way. So let's see. Question for you right now is just to think about what you do to reconnect. Because maybe even in this conference, you feel like it's jumping point to point to point. You might use VR to reconnect. This is an example today in the session of ways that you can use VR to reconnect. But what do you do right now? Just inviting you to think for a moment about a personal practice you have that you use when you need to reconnect. For me, one of my practices is running. I just love running, going out in the woods, picking a trail, running, feeling my heartbeat. Some people love cooking. Some people choose to meditate and have a formal meditation session. Other people might play with a dog or, take another pet out and go for a hike, something like that. I think that whatever we're doing, that is an aspect of mindfulness if we're intentional about it and it's increasing our awareness in the moment. If I ask people about a feeling of reconnection, they often tell me something that reminds me of this. Like, when they reconnect, they feel like they're expansive and they can breathe and their lungs are filled with clear air. And if I ask them about disconnection, they often tell me something that makes me think of this image, that people, we're going so fast now, and that's the world we've created, a pace that's almost beyond our intentions, and we have to catch up. I was a full-time teacher for over 10 years in middle school and high school, and I would often ask my students, how do you feel in the middle of this world? And they said sometimes they feel really disconnected, and they're trying to catch up and trying to have experiences socially online as a way to authenticate their experience. So I was asking them, okay, if we didn't capture it, if we don't take pictures, if we don't post constantly, did it actually happen? And if you don't smile in them, were you having fun? And this is a bigger topic. We could have a talk for, a day about this in social media. I think that VR is actually not a medium. It's an experience that can bring people back to themselves. So when I hear about digital innovation and about people using different media and feeling oversaturated and overwhelmed, I feel like VR has the capacity, both in education and in our personal life, to bring us back closer to ourselves. And I think it's interesting to really step back and look at how we're using different forms of technology and how we're approaching ourselves in the process, because this is happening right now, and students are telling me it's really important to them not to feel forced, not to feel that they have to use connection in a way that's false on these forms of media, because it starts to then feel like an impulse instead of a choice. So one of my missions with education is to design for mindful connection. And that's where mindfulness and social emotional learning comes in. Yeah, so really to think about the brain and think about some of the recent findings we have in neuroscience that back up what I think as educators we've always known intuitively, that we connect more deeply when we slow down, when we feel present in an experience, and when we're free to create and explore and wonder. Because that bottom line of creativity and innovation tends to come from that type of mindset. So it's really the creative mindset that's at the end of this process, which is all about inviting mindfulness. So this session today, I wanted to just introduce you to some of the ideas of mindfulness, and then go from there and have an experience ourselves, just a mini experience. And for me, this is really learning 2.0. It's taking the advantage of all these findings and then putting it into practice in a way that is our own. And I say that to each of you in the room because your classroom is your group. And I'm not going to say to Steve Bowie, this is the way that you have to design your classroom. I wrote a book and I called it Mindful by Design, because each of us is a designer and each of our students is a designer. You're a designer of the experience that you want to have. And of course, you can seek out my stories, seek out Bill's, talk to David, find out what works for him, and then you pick and choose and create your own wonder space in your classroom where students are involved and empowered. Okay, this is a lot of text, but I would say for me, it's important to have it all up there, because when I was at the VHIL, the Virtual Human Interaction Lab at Stanford, I was really thinking about, okay, what is VR doing that's different? And why am I feeling this presence in such a visceral way that makes me want to create learning worlds that incorporate VR, and leadership worlds and new spaces for mindfulness? I think, looking at this slide, it goes beyond the words. These new rules of identity and space are something we feel. We don't have to conceptualize them. I say we don't learn from the neck up, we learn with our whole body. And in VR, it makes so much more possible as we play with those ideas and think about them. So it's no doubt, if you're in this room or if you're watching the live feed or if you're in AltSpace, you chose to be there for a reason. For me, it has something to do with these words, this new empathy enhancement, the way that we connect with each other that can be deeper and even more meaningful than what's existed in the past. And that's amazing. Don't underestimate it. And new research is coming out every day that really backs up these ideas of using VR for mindfulness, for connection, and for empathy. So I've been overseas. I was living in Belgium, living in Switzerland. I've been teaching and working all over the world. And a lot of people will say, well, what is this word mindfulness? They're familiar with it, but might not have had a concrete definition for it. So my definition uses 3 A's. And today I just wanted to explore those 3 A's and use this space as a chance to connect. Okay, so right now, wherever you are in the room, as I break down the 3 A's, I just want to go back to that question I asked at the beginning, what you use to reconnect in your life when you feel a sense of disconnection. And just think about the 3 A's as an like, I'm feeling a sense of wonder, or I'm feeling more relaxed. The first A stands for awareness. So as you're sitting in this room and we're experiencing awareness, it means with all of our senses. So with your sight, with your sense of smell, touch, sound, you're dropping in on that. And mindfulness encompasses awareness because it means you're physically aware and you're also taking notice of your internal landscape. So what's happening in your mind, and it could be a curious awareness. Like right now, maybe you notice something happening that's a little different in the room. Yeah. And I'm smiling because I'm seeing it right now all around me. And intentionally the symbol here is water for awareness, because water is one of those elements that has a changing condition, right? It can be hot or cold. Sometimes there are waves and we have to ride them, right? And with mindfulness, as you're approaching that and thinking symbolically of the water, realize that it's up to you to be aware and to invite yourself to both appreciate the moment, and it's not always sunny and happy. Like sometimes the waves feel like a storm, right? To be aware of that using qualities of mindfulness means that you kind of start watching yourself in each moment. Like right now, you might be sitting in the front row thinking, why did I listen to Caitlin and sit in the front row? It's the splash zone. I'm getting wet, and you're kind of having this mini levity conversation where you can actually laugh at that. You can zoom out of yourself as if you're at the end of a movie and kind of watch yourself watching the water. You can think about how much you appreciate being able to be here in VR, and you can start looking at your hands, your virtual hands in VR, and start playing with the water. And all of those simple kind of childlike exercises are part of mindfulness because it really takes us back to that state of just looking and not assessing. Yeah, and for learners, that's really key because you can approach any topic and invite a quality of awareness. And suddenly, it's not about proving what I set out to prove. It's about investigating the different angles that might be possible in a very simple experience. Yeah, so being aware, and people like John Kabat-Zinn, who developed mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, they'll say that awareness is on purpose. Like you don't just happen to be aware because your body happens to sense things. You're intentionally inviting that awareness. And what better place than VR to invite curiosity and say, let's drop in on this moment. Let's be aware. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I just turned around. Oh. So first you're aware, and then the second A stands for advancing. Yeah, so the symbol for advancing is a tree today, just as a hook. This is like a memory palace. So I'm giving you anti-slides, like slides that are 3D objects. So the tree stands for advancing because it's not, I say the word advancing and some people think, oh, I mean standards and checking boxes and jumping through hoops. No, I mean like a tree, you're grounded. So each learner has their ground. They feel support, like a tree feels support in its roots, right? But it's lifting up. It's got an impulse. Like a tree has the gravity and the levity. So that advancement stands for being able to see past some limiting beliefs. Maybe there are stories that we're carrying as learners or as leaders that are limiting us from our potentials. The tree wants to stretch toward the sun, so it's reaching its branches up, its leaves, and it's adapting. It's adapting to the conditions of its environment, and at each step, I think there's a great kind of Greek play that talks about this quality of the tree to be flexible, right? Like when the wind comes, The strong trees are not actually the ones that are brittle and tied in their places, but they're flexible in the wind, and they have this ability for their branches to move and to stretch and to grow in a way that's really flexible and fluid. So as we think about the tree and for ourselves being like the tree, that quality of advancing is really about leaning into opportunities that come up in the moment, right? If we have a space for ourselves, and mindfulness helps give us that capacity, then we're able to not only adapt, but seek out the qualities, like seek out the sunlight that is good for us, and really, really fits what we're promoting and working toward in our sense of purpose. So that really is the moment of tree and growth. And the third A stands for authenticity. So this is the hardest part. If you think about mindfulness and non-judgment, authenticity. Oh, as I look over, there's fire. Yeah. So the theme here with authenticity is the candle, right? And the candle and the light that travels. Right? We don't exist alone. We exist in a community, and an authentic community and authentic individuals are ones that share their fire, like share their light with others, seek support and strength from others. Resilience doesn't happen in an individual way. It happens in a way where there are different ups and downs, and the social environment can help and really support each other in a way that involves vulnerability as well. And for leaders and learners, that's a lesson that's sometimes really hard in education. Alvin Grayland talked about this last night, about how the impulse is to perform and to really promote ourselves on an individual level. That was the archaic old style of learning 1.0. But as we move to 2.0, really this idea of relational trust, that people trust us more when we say, hey, I don't have all the answers. I have to seek that light from elsewhere in my community. Oh, we have something new here in the school. I don't know everything about it. And you get your learners involved, becoming some of the experts who are going to help lead others. I think it's really empowering as a leader to acknowledge that we don't know everything, thank goodness. And part of that authentic connection with mindfulness, can't even see the slide, it's really funny, it's appropriate. With mindfulness, part of that third A of authenticity is knowing that not only is that okay, but that's expected. It makes you stronger and more capable as a leader and a lifelong learner when you're authentic and people see, oh yeah, you're not pretending to have all the answers and score perfect on every test, but you know how to seek out others, and you know how to thrive and exist in a moment. And I like to say authenticity also is about having humor and being able to step back and just laugh at the moments that happen. I know all of them are not funny, but a lot of them, if we're not fixed too tightly on outcomes, we start to see that discovery happens when there's that type of flow. So practices in mindfulness can add to all of these elements being part of our lives. And I put that out there intentionally, just as water, tree, candle, so that you can take those ideas away. And when you're thinking, oh, what is mindfulness? How do I use it? That's really the digging down to elements that remind you of how to incorporate each of those in an interesting way. And I've come up with exercises that work for me. I'm happy to share them because I've led them with groups all over the world, some in learning spaces, some in leadership spaces, people of all ages. We're lifelong learners. So really, this is a conference getting together to talk about how we both unlearn strategies from the past that didn't work so well and embrace some of these new learning strategies that work really well with the wonder technology of VR. So I wanted to also, with the three elements, just give us one exercise kind of hands on, lungs on. I love it. I'm having so much fun right now. I'm grinning ear to ear if my avatar doesn't show it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so one exercise that you can do right now with me, we're gonna do it together. One of the first times, So just take it as it goes. But for me, so okay, if this is a jewel, it's a gem in front of us, and it's gonna guide us in a breathing exercise. For me, the way that I ground and get back to self, like let's say that you're waiting for a long time in an office and you're just kind of stressed out from the waiting. Maybe you cannot import water and tree and fire. You can have them in your mind, but here's just a simple breathing exercise that you can do for yourself, because lots of studies show it just takes 3 breaths to reset your system, just get you back feeling in flow, feeling connected. So with me, I'm just going to lead 3 breaths. So the first thing I would invite is just for wherever you are, whether you're sitting, the ideal would be to sit, for this exercise, but you could be standing. Just put yourself at the edge of the seat. This is where the tweet comes in, Stephen, from yesterday. You're going to be on the edge of your seat. So put yourself at the edge of your seat so you feel like you're not falling asleep. Like the idea for some breathing and mindfulness is to invite your body into a state of dignity. You respect it, you love it, and you're inviting yourself to be present, be aware, but be comfortable, like not forced. Okay, so with me, now that you're relaxed and you've rolled your shoulders back and you feel like you're good to go in your seat, okay, just going to invite you to take a deep breath in. It could be in through your nose or out through your mouth. So in, and you can visualize this gem expanding as you breathe in. And then you feel the breath full in your lungs and you let it exhale really slowly. Just exhale completely, letting go of anything. Then you feel that emptiness in your lungs and you can turn and inhale a second time. And as you inhale a second time, just feel the word possibility, right? And as you exhale, let go of anything that's negativity. Yep, just feel it lift off of you. You exhale completely. And then a third breath in. You can let a slight smile come across your face. And then exhale and just let anything go that you feel you might be holding on to as you exhale. Yeah. And when you don't have a virtual diamond to be your gemstone, you can be in a classroom and use your hands to do a breathing space exercise with students, just 3 breaths. You can use an expansion ball. They have these balls that expand that you can use to represent your lungs. I don't know about you, but just 3 breaths. I mean, just raise your hand if you feel a little more relaxed right now than when you entered the session. Maybe right now than before. Use yourself as a testing ground. I don't know, so I don't claim authority over your body and your experience, but I know that mindfulness and social emotional aspects invite me to use myself as a testing ground. So I'm constantly stepping back saying, how does that feel? And if it feels good, I'll use it and I'll keep using it. If it doesn't, I cast it away and I look for another exercise that works for me and works for my group. Social emotional learning is really tied to mindfulness because it takes the context of presence and being there and respecting ourselves and holding dignity for each other, and then applies it socially to social groups, social learning groups. So all of these SEL practices are tied in with a base level, I think, of mindful awareness. They complement each other. Oh, wow, there's a bird. I love it. Okay, so now I feel like Snow White. So now we're going to kind of, let's see. I'm going to play around a little bit, seeing if I move forward, I can just talk about this. Yeah, we don't even need, let's keep all the elements. I love them. The theme of VR is connection inside and out. That's what that says there. And Michio Kaku, who's a neuroscientist, he said, wow, there are 1 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. They're roughly the same as the number of neurons in our brain. Yeah, so pretty amazing that we have the same number of neurons in our brain as stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Studies recently have been showing that, of course, there's higher rates of burnout, higher rates of stress and anxiety. Articles that come out in research papers strongly reinforce that mindfulness practices relate to stress reduction, an ability to overcome setbacks, obstacles, all kinds of things that are in our way. So it's like this superpower that you're able to carry with you. And it's like swimming in a large lake as opposed to feeling like our body is trapped in a tiny cup. So what's happening in your brain, and I can share slides later, but it's really more important to just think about it and conceptualize. Aha, thank you very much. Thank you, Chris Madsen. So what's happening is when we feel a sense of a threat come in, the brain is naturally it's not hardwired, it's softwired, it's bio. We have a reaction in our limbic system that says, threat, we've got to react right away and get ourselves to a safe place. What mindfulness does is it brings up our regulatory processes. Like, it actually enhances our ability to take those threats and say, okay, in this moment, is this actually a threat, or is this something I'm perceiving? And can I use the mindfulness practice to really connect with myself and basically disempower that sense of being threatened. So it turns some fear into curiosity. It can turn our reactive system into more of a response system. So we're able to respond to what's happening in the moment. They say for educators, having a mindfulness practice, students will recognize it even if you don't say, hey, I'm practicing mindfulness. Like, students will just say, oh, wow, I feel that sense of capacity. Like, I feel welcome in this room. I feel like, when things happen, my teacher is more able to respond to me and make me feel connected on a personal level. So right now, we've been, Chris Madsen and I have been doing group sessions together with educators, with leaders inside of VR, giving people a chance to learn about mindfulness and practice together as a group. And results have been great. And I will leave it up to others, take their word for it and not mine. When people come in together to a space where they're invited to be themselves, be comfortable, learn about mindfulness practices, there's so many of them, and also learn about ways you can take them back to your groups and use them.
I think we've just lost Caitlin for a moment, but hopefully she'll be back in just a second. If you just hang on for a moment.
All right. So I know she was about ready to wrap up on the slides, so I'm going to go ahead and take us over to her next environment, and hopefully.
I'm still here.
Oh, she is here. I was about ready to move us on over to the next world, Caitlin.
I don't know what happened. The timer went on. I had a time clock.
Oh, is she gone again? Oh, there she is. Kayla, you're.
She's there, but
oh.
No.
Let's go ahead. I'm going to move us on over to the next location, guys.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Okay. I don't know what, it keeps kicking me out and back in. Is there a reason?
Usually that's an internet related thing. If you lose connection, it'll pop you out, but I went ahead and moved us over to the winter scene.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. If it happens to do that, feel free, Chris, to just walk people through what it would be. And then tell them
we were rolling with the flow, Caitlin.
I love it. You guys know. You know how we roll. I was thinking, okay, I guess it's time to go. Yeah. Oh, I love that Tina and I have like a doppelganger outfit going on. It's so great. We choose wisely. Complimenting us. Yay. Yes. Oh, this is super. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now, just wanted to give each person a moment. I'm not going to speak. I just want you to take the first minute and drink in the scene. Just look around and enjoy. So in this space, is it possible to have another round of the music really softly in the background? I don't know. I love that music. Chris is our master puppeteer of images, sound, and delight. It's really great when you can take a group in here. This is an example of one of the settings and scenes that we've created and designed to have people feel a sense of wonder and also gathered together in the snowscape. You can have breathing exercises. We lead all kinds of different forms of engagements, and some of them could be based on the breath. Other ones are based on senses and noticing. Some of them are group sharing and creative exercises with ideas. And sometimes it's nice also just to leave room. And maybe you're feeling that right now. John Keats, the poet, he has this phrase called negative capability. Like, what happens in a moment where we leave that emptiness as a space for each person to just be with their ideas? Maybe you're looking around and you start to see something that reminds you of a thought that you had that you forgot to capture. Maybe you're experiencing a memory and thinking about that and wanting to turn it into something creative that you're going to apply later in some way, but without any force. We're just inviting moments here for reconnection. I think that's really wonderful, because in that modern pace, sometimes we don't leave the emptiness and leave the space for our mind to be free to explore and to feel that sense of freedom. So right now, I'm going to step back again and just invite you in the space to take a breath with me. So just take a breath in. Feel that breath fill your lungs. Maybe feel yourself standing up a little taller, feeling a little higher in your chair, and then exhale. Just picture the word ease. What does ease look like to you? And what does it feel like today to invite yourself to experience with a sense of ease? So keeping that in mind, keeping our capacities in mind, that's an example of what mindfulness and social emotional is in VR. And you can open up the space. You can have people in it that are from your classroom. They can share in a session designed for them, and then invite them to open up, share with each other, have different interactions. So it's really a playground of mindfulness and social emotional learning. And you're experiencing the beginning of something that's growing to be bigger, because there are new series that
we lost Caitlin again. If she comes back, which I hope she does, we'll have a chance to give her our thanks. I loved it. What did you guys think?
That was amazing.
That was awesome.
Chris, I've got to say, I'm in tears.
Oh. And you're on desktop. And that's awesome.
Caitlin has a very incredible gift that girl does.
Yes, she does. She is amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, and she's back. Let's give Caitlin give Caitlin our love. Thank you, Caitlin. Yay!
In case I go away again. I love you. I love you.
Don't go away.
Yeah, in case something pulls me into another metaverse. The key here is really to remember my name, Caitlin Krause, and CaitlinKrause.com, because we have all kinds, like Chris and I, co-designing. I'm leading new sessions and doing all of these experiences in a bigger way. So you can sign up by going to that website. And also, you saw my email, caitlin.krause@gmail.com. You can write to me and say, I want to have something. I want to do something. And it can be as customized as you wish. We also already have series that are created that you can jump into as educators and as leaders to co-learn with others in a way that builds and adds more skills. So this applies to all different areas of your focus, whether you're a science teacher, whether you're a principal, whether you're actually leading a business. This type of social skill and mindfulness, I think there's no better place than VR to practice it. And we need it for ourselves and for our learners. I feel like this is something that I started doing when I was teaching in the classroom, and then it brought me into spaces like hackathons and places where people need flexible mindsets. So I feel strongly about that. And I think for me, the reason I'm here is that passion to empower connection, and also to look around and just feel that connection with each of you. So I'm going to say, Chris, if you want to bring us back to moon landing, that's totally great with me. I think we have a few minutes where we can unmute everybody in the moon landing, and you can ask us questions if you want. I'll put up the slide again with the links.
Let's head on over. Here we go.
Thank you so much. Here we are.
It's raining people. I love how they drop in from the sky.
Yay. Okay. So there are our links. I don't know.
All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna unmute everybody. If you guys could soft mute yourself, meaning keep yourself muted and unmuted at your discretion. You can find the little microphone on the right-hand side of your menu when you open your menu. And I'm going to unmute everyone now. If I do hear background noises coming from someone, I'll probably go ahead and hard mute you. But here we go. Excellent. Looks like a lot of you have gone ahead and soft muted yourself, and it sounds really great. Sounds good. So if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, you can just simply unmute your microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Whoops.
So we can...
Hello. Oh, and thank you. Thank you so much. It's been really awesome just being able to do this interactive presentation. It's unlike anything.
It was an amazing session, Caitlin. Really was amazing.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah. Caitlin, you're always
so
awesome.
much.
You're incredible.
That's Brian. I know his voice anywhere. Right. Thank you, Brian. No, thank you so much. Yeah, this is awesome. Awesome to have so many great people in the room. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear, Caitlin. I know how busy you are and how much you do and how many people you help. Would you mind sharing with us one of your favorite, most recent experiences you've had in presenting mindfulness or working a mindfulness workshop with others? Is there something that just sticks out in your mind? Nothing bigness. I'd love to hear something.
Sure. I'm looking up at this mobile cube here as my anchor. Cool. Yeah, Shiny. If anyone else wants to stare at the cube while I talk. I was involved in the recent MIT reality hackathon, and that just stands out in my mind. That was in January, and we had a bunch of people gathered. If you've ever been part of a hackathon, it tends to be pretty wild and hands-on and just go. And this group, it was great. They were, I was a mentor, and I went into different kind of areas where I was helping. And the thing, Brian, that stands out is that, again, it's kind of hectic, and there wasn't a lot of time to deeply focus. And then a group came to me and they said, we need help, because I was bouncing around, helping with design and story and creation. And they said, we need help with this project that we're doing to add in subtitles. So they were doing a VR AR device that had auto subtitles so that people who were hearing impaired could still understand what was happening in VR. Yeah. And for me, the help that they needed in design and mindfulness really came with the storytelling elements. Like, how do we get this across? And I said, well, do you have any testimonials? Have you talked with any humans? And they said, no, we haven't. And I was like, I was saying to them, oh, it's really about creating a human connection. I feel like get human is one of my taglines. They had this beautiful device that was so well coded, but they had nothing that created a feeling of the people that they wanted to serve. So I said, have you talked with anyone who is hearing impaired? Within a day, they had found an online community of people who were hearing impaired, who wanted to use VR, who wanted to go in but lacked the accessibility. They had interviews going. They had somebody that was able to test what they had created and put their own feedback on it. And they ended up winning that section of the hackathon. And I feel like what they were saying to me as feedback is that the storytelling, the connection, the mindfulness elements let them really step back and see, oh, we're doing this to connect on a human level, even though we thought it was all about the coding and we thought it was all about the tech. yeah, so that story, I mean, it was just so powerful working with that group and being able to go deeper as a mentor, because you're always bouncing around saying, how can I be of use? Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Caitlin, I know some people are probably jumping to other classes as well, so I wanted to real quickly give you an opportunity. We would love people to experience the magic of this as much as possible, and Caitlin's going to be doing another round of this later today. Maybe Caitlin, you can give some details on that and the time, and if you guys could just put the word out, let folks know that this is something special. And this is what VR, in my opinion, is all about, is to be able to be present and bring that magic to us. So
absolutely,
we would love to see some new faces come around. People just don't know this is happening. So it'd be great if you could put the word out. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, you couldn't have said it better. That's at MindWise_CK is my tag on Twitter. So that's my ID if you want to put out notices. And later, 6 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be doing something that, similar experiences, different approach each time, kind of a deeper dive. But the idea here is to invite anybody in who's curious about the experience or just doesn't know how important, I think a topic like social, emotional, and mindfulness is. So just in community, more ways to interact, explore. And I think the other really important thing is that this day is not the end. It feels like a beginning. So if you felt like you had any kind of connection to this experience, even if you don't know what it will look like in your world, please reach out. Write to me at my email. Tell me that you're interested. Go online. There is a place that you can join on the webpage to stay alerted, because these sessions are coming out big time and they're meant to have groups involved. Classes involved. That's the beauty. We can have these trainings in many ways, and that's what I want to build, an experience community with you involved. So that's the invitation out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. That's a fantastic session.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone, a round of applause, please.
Thank you.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Yay.
I'm in 2D, so I can't clap, but
Virtual clapping. I see Steve.
There you go.
Exactly.
I've got to run to another session in Alt Space now, because I'm hosting another session in Alt Space, so I'm going to have to run, I'm afraid. But that was a fantastic session. Thank you so much, and I will be back for the next one, even though it's 2 o'clock GMT, 2 o'clock in the morning GMT. But I will be with you for the next session.
That's dedication. Thank you for that, Tim. Good job, man.
Well, I love it. I love all of this. This is amazing.
It is good.
Cheers to caffeine. All right.
Amen.
Coffee all around.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the
Bye.
day.
Thank you,
I'll see
Thank you,
see you in the
Caitlin.
other
As always,
session.
it's great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Stephen, do you want to stick around a little bit? I'll show you your stage.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Okay. Wow.
Hey,
That was
Dave.
so great, Caitlin.
Hey, Brian. How you doing,
Thank
man?
you. Thank you for being there.
That was Caitlin.
There you go.
That was
Love
awesome,
this.
right?
That
Did
was
that feel
awesome.
good?
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
That rocked. I love the 3 elements just coming to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved, this was great for me to see that tree grow. I loved putting that in and making that happen. That was so freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I think
I'm gonna pop my live stream up.
Chris is a little bit loud though. He's a loud mouth. He's loud. When I'm loud, he mutes me, but I can't mute him. It's like
You can't mute.
Oh my.
I know, Chris.
Yeah.
In learning about computer science exclusively in virtual reality, stay around. And also, if you want to learn just how to do some neat stuff in VR, I'll be going over that as well. Okay, so can everyone see the link behind me, the slide presentation? Give me some happy emojis if you do. Awesome. It looks like everyone's ready to go then. Okay, guys. Well, let's get started. So my name is Nicholas Barone. I am the founder of CS in VR and the founder of Universe. If you haven't heard of us before, what we do is we teach computer science classes in VR in Altspace. We do general information meetups, like teaching people how big technology works, like the internet. And we also do interview series. Like yesterday, we did an interview with an incoming Microsoft developer. And we're just basically building a community of people that are passionate about computer science, whether that's academically or professionally, in virtual reality. So that's a bit about what we do. The way today's session is going to work, I'm going to mute the audience for now, but I will allow hand raises. So I'm going to allow hand raises now. So the way that works is that on the bottom right, you should see a raise hand button. If you have a question at any time during the presentation, or you want to just make a comment, press the raise hand button, and I'll give you a call. You'll be able to be megaphoned. So it looks like we have one. Raisin, is this just by accident? Do you want to say something before we get started? Raisin, can you hear me? All right, I think Raisin probably just accidentally raised his hand there, just giving it a try. Yeah, feel free to just try it out before we get started. I won't call on you, so press the raise hand button just to make sure you understand how it works. And I wanted to do a quiz before we get started. All right, let's get that going. What do I want to make active? There we go. All right, so I guess this is kind of like the intro for what we're going to be going over today. Go to quizzes. Actually, maybe I'll come to the quiz a bit later. All right, so let's get started with the presentation then. So I told you a bit about computer science and VR, about the breakdown, about what we're going to be covering today. So yeah, first 10 minutes is kind of who we are at CS and VR. I'll be going over some interesting things we're doing. And then I'll talk about event creation and management. So I'll kind of show you guys some of the tips I've learned creating events and hosting them in Altspace. And then, let's see. And then I'll give you a brief overview of where we're going. And I'm trying to make this as collaborative as possible. So I want you guys to be raising your hands. I want you guys to be asking questions. We're going to use a quiz, a VR quiz, which is pretty interesting. It's a system I built out. And you get to see how that looks. So, yeah, we got some pretty exciting things planned for today. So these are just some examples of some meetups we've done in the past. So we have talking like meetups discussing what the internet is, talking about like an introduction to Unity, which is a game development engine for 2D and 3D apps. And we're also launching a course around that Unity meetup. So we'll be launching that soon. I think we have details coming up. So we started in, when did we start? We started in October. That was our first meetup. And we've been doing meetups ever since. So far, within like those 4 or 5 months, we've had over 3,000 attendees. So we've gotten really good community support. We just got spotlighted by Altspace for the next 2 months to do events weekly. And that's for be spotlighted on Monday. So we're really happy about that. We're also featured on Oculus events. And we have a Discord of over 200 strong at csandvr.com. So the support we've really gotten has been amazing from our community. And we're really happy for Altspace and Oculus for supporting us. And what I think that truly indicates is there's people in virtual reality that want to build their computer science skills. They want to learn a programming language. They want to learn a technology like Unity. And that just shows there's a lot of interest in doing that. And what we're trying to do is build a community around that. So, and we'll talk about that. I think let's go into it. Yeah. So the reason I did this in the first place was I am a big believer in remote learning. I love the idea of remote learning. It's affordable. It's convenient. Learning online is really a great option. But the issue I found was that they're very low quality. They're really boring. It's easy to feel isolated when really the only time you can communicate with another student or teacher is through a discussion forum. And for me, that really demotivated me when I ever got to a problem. I felt like I just wasn't good enough. I didn't have the motivation to do this. So a lot of online courses I quit. And that's actually how I got started in computer science. I took an online course and after like 3 weeks of it, I quit because I thought it was just not for me. I couldn't get through the problems. It was just not engaging. But when I went to college and I took it in a classroom, I was constantly working with other people, with teachers, and I fell in love with it. It eventually became my major. I'm a computer science engineer at Cornell. I'm a senior right now. And I wanted to bring that in-person learning experience to online. So you don't have to go to an expensive university, travel, pay rent, all that stuff. I wanted to bring that experience to everyone, who has internet access. And unfortunately right now, a VR headset. So that's what we're trying to do. Bring that community, bring that collaboration that's missing from these online courses and doing that through virtual reality. So that's what our kind of mission is, and that's where we started with these online courses that are just low quality. So let's see if I can get this running. Awesome. Okay, cool. Let's see, which one do I want to ask first? Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so what I'm about to do, this is a quiz system that we built out. And basically, it's a quiz system that you can actually answer questions in VR. So for our courses, this is really important when we want to assess people after we go through a series of slides, whether we want to do surveys. So it's a really useful tool for us to do assessment while in VR. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. Forms, universe, slides. All right, okay. And while I get this set up, I want to show you guys what I'm doing for those interested in learning how to copy and paste in VR. So the slides should be moving forward now. And what you're going to see is a live stream, which is another really cool thing we have. So let me know if you guys see a live stream behind you now. Do you guys see like an Altspace webpage? All right, so basically what I'm trying to do right now is copy and paste a link for me to access in VR. But the way I'm doing that, what I'm showing you right now is an actual live stream of my computer screen, which as you can imagine, for computer science is incredibly important. We do a lot of coding demos through live streaming, and it's actually something that I recently came upon about how to get this in virtual reality. And to show you guys how it's done in case you want to live stream your computer for your own events or whatever purpose you want to do, there's a extension called WebRTC. Can you guys see that in the top right? It's kind of hard to see. But if you Google WebRTC, it's basically a screen sharing extension from Chrome that you can add onto like an add-on for Chrome, and it shares your screen. And it's one of the only ones we found to work. YouTube has too high latency. You want to do like any other type of streaming, it's just not going to work. This one's incredibly easy to do. It's free and really low latency. Like my mouse moves maybe within a second of what it shows on the stream. So if you want to live stream in VR, go to WebRTC, download it, press start stream. It'll give you a link, and you're going to put that link into either an in-world browser or like copy and paste. I'll show you guys how to do that later, but this is a truly amazing thing for computer science to live stream in VR. Okay, but I want to show you guys how to copy paste in virtual realities, because that's what I want to do now. So right now you guys see my screen, right? If you've ever been to the Altspace webpage, you've seen this page before. There's a lot of like kind of hidden tricks for this. So let me go to more, go to custom messages. And then you're going to see this screen here, right? So custom messages is how you copy and paste. So you're going to go to, like if you want to do a new one, press create. You go to the link you want to copy and paste. For me, that's going to be, I think it's, let's see. That's going to be https q.cs in VR. So you paste the link here that you want to copy paste. https, just make sure that link's right. Create custom message. And now that message is saved in your custom messages, right? So you've saved a link in custom messages for Altspace. All right, so that's the first step for it. And we can see now it's on the bottom right here. I'm sure you guys can see that in VR. So now how do we get that into virtual reality? We got it on the Altspace website. What you need to do is you need to press, and you guys can do this with me. There should be like a net button, like around your menu button, there should be like a net button that indicates opening your personal browser. You want to click that. So click that internet button, it's that little net button around your big blue menu screen. You click that, and then, let's see, for me, it's a little bit slow. My personal browser is giving me issues. Unfortunately, might be the case with virtual reality sometimes. So the personal browser button's not working. Let me come back into the room. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna re-enter because I want to get this work. All right, guys, I'm back now. Altspace decided to push an update right now, which is not good for me. Okay, so anyways, I was saying push your personal browser button. It's that like net button around your big menu screen. Then you should see in the bottom right, Altspace Labs. There's like an Altspace Lab button. You press that, and that basically takes you to the Altspace homepage. So after there, you do the same thing. You press the More button on the top right, go to Custom Messages. Then you press VR. So press VR, and I'll show you on the screen share what that looks like. You press VR here. And now it's going to give you a list of buttons. So all you have to do is click one of those buttons. So I'm going to click the quiz button. It's going to open up a keyboard. Obviously, you don't have any buttons yet. It's going to open a keyboard. And now that link, that button you press, that link is copied to your keyboard. So now I can send a message to all of you guys for a quiz in VR. And I know that this might sound complex. I have a video on our YouTube channel outlining the specific steps for you guys to see. So if you want to check out how to do this after, go to our YouTube. I believe it's, go to our Discord first, csnvr.com, join it, and then you can find the link to our YouTube channel there. And it has the details for doing that. But I just sent you guys a quiz link. So what you want to do is press the open link button. Press the open link button and vote on the first question. So go ahead and vote. And let me know if you guys not get the link. I'll send it again. All right, let me send out the link again. If you already have it open, don't press it. Don't open, just exit out of it if you've already opened the link and you've already voted. If you don't, then open it and make sure all your browsers before are closed. And I'm just gonna see your guys' results. All right, so make sure you vote. Okay, what is your experience with online courses? All right, I'm gonna press reveal. Okay, so some of you guys have completed multiple online courses, some just one. Does anyone want to share their experience with an online course? If you do, press the raise hand button, or anyone want to make like any sort of question or comment, now is the time. So can someone kind of tell me what their experience was when they took an online course? I'd love to kind of hear what was good about it, what was bad about it. Let's go to end dial.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, so the course that I've been taking, I do a lot of Pluralsight training. And I enjoyed a lot. The only problem is a lot of the Pluralsight courses aren't as interactive as I would prefer for my personal learning style.
Yeah, interactive in what way? Like, what do you think's missing?
I think it'd be nice if while going through, you had the option to try and do, I don't know, say I come from a development background, so if I just learned how to make some simple an array in Java, then maybe pop up a command line or something and just have me work with an array, play around with it, see what I can do, and then test it, and then move on to the next course when you feel comfortable.
So more interactive, you mean, like with a command line, kind of more interaction rather than just videos, what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like having a what you see is what you get HTML course would be fantastic.
Gotcha. And how many, Pluralsight, I know that's one of the ones we're looking at for our course. How many have you done?
Probably a dozen, maybe 20.
A dozen. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. That's amazing. Yeah. So online courses is very popular, especially for computer science, because computer science is a lot different than other fields, say like biology or chemistry, where there's certain things that's very hard to replicate online, like doing a lab or doing a dissection. That you can't really do that through a computer. But with computer science, have labs. Everything's done digitally. So that's why computer science courses are some of the most popular online courses. And what's interesting is that these online courses have a 90% plus dropout rate. So again, one of the biggest issue for these online courses is their user retention and keeping users engaged. Just like Endial was saying, how do we keep users engaged? How do we keep them interested? And I think virtual reality, getting people all into the same room, even building experiences for VR is a great way to do that. So that's what we're trying to aim to do. Stu or Duchess.
Yeah, I was an Open University student, and that was many years ago now. And I think one thing I always remember about my time with the Open University is when they did the Second Life. So if you're thinking about what I retained from 10 years ago, that experience of Second Life would probably be it.
Second Life, that's an awesome platform. That was one of the beginning platforms and one of the most popular ones for digital living. Although their VR plugin hasn't worked out great, they kind of set the precedent for people meeting online digitally and having kind of that immersion. So we see VR as the next wave to that. But yeah, no, I think there's a real big opportunity for retaining information in virtual reality. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. So I'm going to send you guys out the link again. I would recommend close out all your browsers before I send out the link just to make things easy. And then click the open link button when I send you the message. So let's go to the next question. That's a different one. Okay, cool. Let's send out the link. I'm going to paste it. Again, I'm doing this in VR, which is amazing. And go ahead and vote. So press the open link button and vote. All right. All right, we got 14 votes. I'm going to go ahead and press reveal in 3, 2, 1. So the immersion is the most for voting. Collaboration is second. Wow, it's actually a perfectly descending voting tally. Yeah, so, obviously, the immersion is kind of like the first thing that people come to mind, being immersed in this environment. You're completely, surrounded 360 view, potentially 6-off immersion. And I think that's great. For me, the most valuable thing I think is the collaboration, being able to meet people in like a 3D space, being able to have spatial audio so you can have multiple conversations going on at the same time, I think is really, really cool. And just to highlight, so you guys done 2 questions now with the quiz. You can kind of see how this could be used for education. If you guys ever done eye clickers before, they're in a classroom where you kind of poll your students. This is what we're trying to accomplish with this quiz system we built out. If you want to get access to this quiz system right now, we haven't released it yet, but we're taking kind of like an alpha sign up. So if you want to teach in VR, you want to use this quiz system, you have to join our Discord at csinvr.com and then go to the course link channel and there's like a VR quiz sign up. So if you're interested in getting access to this, let us know. We're trying to see if we should make a kind of multi-account feature for it. All right, cool. Let's do the next question. All right, so keep those quizzes open. Send me emojis if you need the link again. And go ahead and vote on the next question. Oh, and we got Yulia.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, I just have a quick question. So have you tried to use something like a poll everywhere in this kind of environment? I'm just curious what the advantage is to the custom quiz software.
Sorry, poll. What do you mean by poll everywhere?
So there's a service or a, I guess, an app called Poll Everywhere, and it basically does the same thing where you can send out a link to audiences' mobile devices, and essentially they can vote through a link on their mobile devices.
Got you. So yeah, great question. So I think the question is like kind of along the lines of like, have I tried other polling services? Yeah, I have. So one of the big ones for us, originally I just wanted to use Kahoot. If you guys have heard of Kahoot before, it's a great app. A lot of teachers use it. It's really fun. The issue with a lot of those services is they're not optimized for VR. So one, either the system is not optimized for like a web VR, so like that browser you see, they have to have specific configurations for it, or they require some sort of sign-in. So maybe you have to put like your user ID or you have to put your name, and doing that in VR is really tough because typing is a big issue in virtual reality. So try like Kahoot, I've tried like a few other quiz systems, and it just didn't, like Kahoot didn't work at all. You have to put that user pin or game pin ID, and it's impossible to do that with a browser in VR. So that's why we built out this quiz system. I do want to say that the other alternative is, like without using this quiz system, is Google Forms. Google Forms actually has a pretty decent interface for VR, but the issue with that is that, again, it's not really like a polling system where you can poll, reveal the answer, talk about it, go to the next one. It's more like a form that you do all at once. So that's why we kind of use Forms and our system in tandem, because sometimes it's nice to do one question, reveal it, go over with the audience, and then do the next question. So that's if you can't use our quiz and you want to do the same thing we're doing today, use Google Forms. That's a great way to do it. And the way that works is you copy and paste the link into VR, like we were just talking about, send that out to everyone, and they're able to complete it. Okay, anyone have any questions on that? That was a great point, Yulia. I haven't tried the specific one you're talking about, but I've tried others, and for me, they weren't great, or they didn't work at all, but Google Forms is kind of the next best thing. All right, so if we don't have any questions, let's keep going. So let me see if I have another quiz question. Oh, I haven't revealed. Okay, so if you need the quiz link, press the raise hand button or give me an emoji, or actually just give me an emoji and I'll send it back to you. All right, I'm sending the quiz link out to everybody. Just go ahead and vote. Who else said, give me some emojis if you need the quiz link? Okay, got you. Oh, wow, okay, that's a lot of people. Maybe the link didn't go through that well the first time. All right, so I sent the quiz link out. Travis, I'll get to you in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and reveal. So I'm asking here, what is your computer science background? What's questioning me stuff? Okay, so I'm gonna press reveal, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 5 people say 1+ years. One person says 3 to 1 year, 3 months. So, well, pretty decent. A lot of people have exposure to CS in the room, which is awesome. That's one of the great things about our community is like we get like basically everyone in the spectrum. We get complete beginners. We've had like PhD students come to our events. We had like NVIDIA researchers come. So yeah, that's kind of the point of what we're doing, just getting people together and trying to have the community eventually help each other out. So it's awesome we have a diversity of people here today. Let's go to Travis. Travis?
Yeah, I wasn't really intending to ask a question. Sorry.
Oh, you're just trying to raise. No problem. No problem. Another thing I want to do. Oh, whoops! I almost deleted someone's question. Another thing I want to say is that so I've been to a lot of events in VR, and I've experimented with a lot of formats. So right now I'm teaching a course, for instance, Intro to Programming for the last 2 months, and it's done. All the meetups are done in virtual reality. And what I'd say that if you want to teach a course in virtual reality, if you want to do stuff in virtual reality, what you want to optimize for is the engagement, is the collaboration between you and your audience. I've seen meetups that just have one person talking the entire time, or one person displaying a video for a long period of time. That's not really the benefit of VR. The benefit of VR is being able to have that live interaction with people. So during my meetups, I always try and make them assessment focused. So giving people quizzes, talking, answering questions, rather than content focused. I usually assign videos to watch at home. You might have heard this concept before with the flipped classroom. That's really what we use to teach our classes, and something I'd recommend, because what we're trying to optimize for is, again, collaboration in VR. We're not just trying to show a video, have someone hear talk, trying to get that interaction. So that's why my presentation is really, answering a lot of questions from you guys, because that's what I think the beauty of VR is. Let's go to Kubra. Kubra? I've been pronouncing that wrong. All right, I'll give her a second. If not, we're going to keep going. Kubra, do you have a question, or are you good? I think our mic's off or something. Okay, so let's go to the next quiz question. Let's see. Okay, next quiz question. So I'll send out the link again. If you already have it open, you just exit out of the message. Don't press the open link button. If you don't have it open, press the open link button and vote. So these are our meetups, yes, in VR. Okay, I'm going to go and press reveal in 3, 2, 1. So most of you people are new. There's 2 that have been to quite a few meetups, and most of this is the first time kind of hearing about it. Another thing I want to stress with the quiz system and VR in general is gathering data. So whether that's through Google Forms, whether that's through quiz, all the responses I see today and through my meetups, I can go back and review. So that's really important when you're trying to gather data about your users, gather data about what your students want to see. So I think it's really important to do that and be able to look back on it and then make decisions based on that data. So whether you want to use Google Forms or not, it's a great place to collect data from users and then come back to it later to make decisions on. So let's keep going. See if we got another one. Okay. All right, that should be it. Let's go back to the slides and get back a little bit back on track. So I'm going to go back to the slides. See if they're changing. Let's the quiz. See where we're at. Okay, so we talked about online courses. We talked about collaboration. So these are the 2 courses that we're teaching right now. We're teaching an Intro to Programming course in Java. That one is we did our first run starting in January. It's about to end later this month. We've seen really good results from it. We probably had a 60 to 70% completion rate from our students, and we're going to get our reviews from our students up here after. But we're starting it up again. The dates are wrong here. This is going to be, so May 7th is when we're going to start the second run of this course. So if you're interested in learning Java programming and you want to learn it in virtual reality, you can sign up for it by going to csnvr.com. That's our Discord, and then joining by clicking the course links on the course links channel. So that's one of the courses we're teaching in virtual reality. This is the other one. So Intro to Unity. Unity is a game engine for developing VR apps and 2D and 3D games. So Unity, like if you want to build worlds in Altspace, you might like look around us. This is like a world in Altspace. If you want to build stuff like this, Unity is a great way to do it. Altspace has support for building worlds using Unity. So that's one of the things we're going to be teaching is how to build worlds in Altspace. We're going to be starting with the fundamentals, so just taking you through the interface, having you build simple games in 2 and 3D, and then eventually we'll teach you guys how to move into full VR apps. So how to do teleportation, how to do interactions. If we have enough time, we'll maybe go into how to do networking, so how to have multiple users in a VR app. So if you're interested in learning that one, this one's by far our most popular one. You have about 60 signups right now. So if you're interested in learning that one, again, csnvr.com, go to the course links channel, and then you'll be able to find more info and sign up there. But yeah, there's the link right there, csnvr.com. What we're trying to do, so kind of businessy overview, we're trying to build the Udemy or OutSchool of virtual reality. So hopefully one day when you want to learn an online course, you'll be able to go to our database and see a list of courses you could choose from, and they're actually going to be taught in virtual reality. So right now the market isn't there. Like there's not enough VR users for us to justify doing a lot of courses. But if VR does take off, if the user base does grow, then we want to be kind of the provider for online courses in virtual reality, and then more specifically for computer science. So also, I'm teaching the programming course. Matt Cook, who's a researcher for Tom Furness, is going to be helping to teach the Unity course. And my background's a computer science engineer at Cornell, so I'm kind of just running a lot of the stuff right now. So I'll be your teacher if you end up doing it. Yeah, so we're launching the first 2 courses as kind of like a beta launch to see what teaching in VR is like. We've already almost done 1 course, and it's been a really good experience, so we're doing another one. But eventually, what we're going to be doing is building a website and support for teachers to launch their own courses in virtual reality, and using our experience, our technology, like the quiz system, to help support them and provide like a marketplace for students and teachers to advertise their course, and for students to find courses in virtual reality that are high quality. So once we do the Unity course, our kind of big one, we'll probably launch that website and start looking for educators to teach courses in VR and help support them. So if you're an educator, you want to teach a course, go on our Discord, csnvr.com, message me. But if you're not an educator, this is kind of what we're doing. I think it's pretty cool. So just tickle your imagination is what I'm doing for the future. All right, does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Press the raise hand button if you do. Another thing I want to say is that you see this is what we use also during our sessions. So I'll do a slide like this, which is the emojis. So this is basically to get feedback from my audience to see how they're feeling about what we just went over. So let's do a little test. Give me an emoji about how you're feeling about what I just talked about for 20 minutes or so. So everyone give some emojis. If you're feeling sad, like I didn't really get it, didn't make any sense, do that. If you're feeling happy, like, damn, that's cool, but give you some happy emojis too. Awesome. So this is just a slide I put in my template. I think it's a good resource for teachers to be able to like do a checkpoint and see like, oh, is the audience still with me? Are they misunderstanding anything? So it's kind of a simple way to get feedback from the audience. So we got one question. Let's go to, oh, this might be a troll. Let's see.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yo, I'm not a troll. I'm just kind of, I came in here pretty late. Can you give me a quick...
Yeah, I'll give you a quick overview. So basically what we're talking about, is, so I run a community called CS in VR, where we teach computer science classes in virtual reality. So I'm kind of explaining what we've done by doing that and what tools we use to teach computer science in VR. So feel free to stay along. Another thing I want to talk about on that note is trolls. Trolls is something that you're going to get in virtual reality that you're not going to get as frequently in person. You know, one of the great things about VR is you have kind of a mask over you, so you can just do whatever you want without fear of consequence. But you can see how that allows trolls to come about. So on the early days of Altspace, like in October, there were tons of trolls. They were able to get into your space, able to go into the stage, and it was terrible. But Altspace has done a lot of good things like stage blocking. So, right, for instance, you can't come up on stage with me. I can mute the entire audience. I can have this raise hand system. So now, really, if you understand the tools that Altspace gives you, trolls aren't really an issue. But, and we'll talk about this later, if you're an educator and you're thinking about which platform to teach in, so there's Altspace, there's, Rec Room, there's Mozilla Hubs. I really recommend Altspace as the platform, and I'll tell you why. Altspace, one, has the best support for events. So if you want to do world creation, that's another thing. Like world creation, Rec Room, VR chat, it's probably better, to be honest. I mean, there's a huge community there. But for event hosting, Altspace really seems to be targeting themselves as the provider for events. So they have the most support in terms of tools. And another huge point is they have the biggest world capacity. So in this world, for instance, you can get 80 people in a world. Oh, everyone say goodbye. There's a Arab guy. See, roll right there. And I can just easily kick him out, which is great. But Altspace has the most capacity for holding users. So right now, this world can hold about 80 users, which is amazing for large events. Like I can get like 60 to 70 users. While in other events like VR chat, the max is 40. Rec Room is probably around the same. Engage is around 36. So if you want to hold large events and have that capacity, Altspace is another big plus for Altspace. So Altspace doesn't pay me or anything, right? I'm not like a spokesman for Altspace, but I chose Altspace as my platform because of the event support, because of the capacity they can hold in the rooms. So if you're an educator, if you want to do events, I really recommend Altspace as a platform to do it. And again, I'm not being paid to say that. I have no incentive, really. Okay, cool. So I want to do another, does anyone have any questions maybe about what I talked about Altspace, differences between different platforms? If not, I want to get the quiz going again to ask you guys a question about what you want to do next. So let me go to my VR day. One sec. All right, let's see. Cool. All right, so let's do a quiz question here. So if no one has a question, I'm going to send out a link again. Close out your personal browsers before you open this link. And go ahead and vote. I'm talking a lot today. I'm losing my breath. Also, I would never be this. Another thing about VR is like browsers before you open this link and go ahead and vote. Yeah.
There's so many all these features coming in from all these other platforms. It's now really a race as to how much stuff can get done and how stable you can make it. And we've already had a disaster where we were doing all this stuff with the high fidelity before they went bust. And
right.
So we're all this kind of trail of tears, as it were. But it was interesting. I mean, you can make it really complicated or whatever. But what I'm really afraid of is, how all these big companies are now getting involved, and eventually we're going to get monetized out. So basically everybody that's involved with me right now is kind of asking this question: hey, are we wasting our time here? Are we going to get screwed eventually? And that includes basically everything, from the headset with Facebook, Altspace with Microsoft, the whole bit. And so that's really the biggest concern I have is that, what is going to be the future? And it's going to be a very short amount of time before we realize, this could all kind of end badly for everybody kind of thing. Anyway, let
me, so I want to talk about two things there because you brought up two really good points. One was kind of the issues with Altspace, just in terms of getting events hosted, technical difficulties you're going to face. And then two is kind of like what's going to happen if VR blows up and then we'll start monetizing, which of course is going to, I hope it happens. I hope people come and unfortunately that will probably be monetization for platforms. But the first thing I want to talk about is bugs. So Altspace is, it's buggy. Like I've been in here for 4 months. I spent a lot of time figuring out bugs. Like the thing I just showed you with copying and pasting, like I found that. No one, like that was just like in the rubble of Altspace because it's changed a lot. So that's one of the issues is learning about all the technical difficulties, learning about like what's going to work, what's going to fail. That's why I'm trying to do, like I have another event coming up, Secrets of Teaching in VR next Monday, and teaching people kind of about these features that people didn't know and then how to encounter errors, like, playing videos and slides. So giving people like a heads up on when they're launching events, what features they can use and how to encounter common bugs. So Altspace is buggy, but with enough time, you can figure out those bugs. So I do want to say that. And in terms of the second point, which is monetization, yeah. So Altspace, Rec Room, VR Chat, Altspace for sure doesn't have a monetization strategy yet. Altspace is owned by Microsoft, which seems like they're just, wanting to be involved in the VR space. So that's why they're running helping support and run Altspace. But eventually, if the traffic starts coming, it will be monetized. And that is going to be a big shift. And we're going to have to see what happens there. I'm sure they're going to start charging some sort of fee for either attending events. And Facebook's obviously going to start putting advertisements in their headsets. But let's not freak out, though, because that means that we're doing something right, that people are coming, that it's finally time to monetize, that VR has become mainstream. So, although that will be a problem, at that point, if it becomes a problem, that means we kind of made it, which I wouldn't be so upset about. Bill, another comment?
Yeah, I also want to mention that we're actually putting together like a list of grievances, or I don't know if you call it that, in terms of what we need to kind of feedback as to what we really want, what are the friction points and all that kind of stuff, as users, because I don't think it's really consistent, because everybody's complaining on Discord, but there really isn't a place that says, okay, these are the things we want and things that we're trying to get fixed. Sort of like a forum that kind of focuses on problems, what they're getting fixed, like a typical, company would. So I just don't like the idea of Discord. You have to go through, miles and miles of all of this clutter. They really need to also figure out feedback, because that was one of the big problems with High Fidelity, is that the people that are working at High Fidelity basically got so pissed off at the user base that you just disappeared. They basically just ran off and didn't even talk to us. And ultimately bailed. And so if you want to see like failure to communicate, this would be one situation, right? They don't have enough feedback mechanisms. That to me was a big deal, because, we're investing all of this effort, and, and it's typical of Microsoft culture where they just focus on a small number of customers and then deal with them, and then everybody else gets shut out or ignored. So that's the main concern I have. After being, a Microsoft MVP for 12 years, I can see how this is going to play out, unfortunately. Anyway, that's all I have. I don't want to keep complaining here, but anyway.
All right. No, I think they're valid. So just to touch on that, and I'm going to go on. I think the idea of having a forums, I get what you're saying with the Discord, it's kind of disorganized. Maybe there's some sort of polling mechanism where we can like vote, upvote, and download features. I think that's useful, but I don't want, like, Altspace, you know, it has its problems, but it's a great platform. Like, this is the event space platform. You're not going to, like, for example, VR chat, the most popular one by far, most popular social site, they don't even have event support. It's like a third party kind of group of people that run events. So if you want to host events, Altspace is really I would say the only real way to do it. Of course, everyone's supporting them, but Altspace, you know, for all its problems, is still, in my opinion, by far the best event hosting website. Not only do they help you with events, they also promote your events. Like, they have an event page, they promote to Oculus. I wouldn't be, as an organization, anywhere near what I am without Altspace. So I'm very grateful for them. And I also don't think, I also know that there's bugs, but, you know, I think that the team is knowledgeable, and I think that they find a better way to get feedback that could really help. All right, so let's do another quiz. So I'm going to send out the link again. Make sure you close out all your personal browsers before you click open link. And I want to see whether you guys want to learn about event hosting, or should I talk about maybe something else? So I'm going to send the link out to you guys. Press the open link button when you get it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and press reveal in 3, 2, 1. So we got some neutrals, some kind ofs, and then some definitely. That's quite a spread, guys. Okay, so I'll talk about events for a bit. I want to say that, like, so I'll show you guys some things. Like, I showed you the kind of copy paste thing, but I think it's a better way to go about it. If you look at the YouTube videos, because I think those will allow you to, like, rewind and kind of watch them again. So if you want to learn how to copy and paste, again, that's on our YouTube channel. I showed you guys how to live stream. So again, live streaming is really important. It's a really good feature that I kind of just recently found out about. Let's see if I can get the live stream back up. So again, if you want to learn how to live stream your computer screen into VR, all right, let's see, is this it? No. Where is it? Nope. The live stream. Oh, it stopped. Okay, so it stopped. The live stream stopped. But yeah, for the live stream, go to WebRTC. It's a free extension. Again, I'm not affiliated with them. I make no money by recommending this, but it's really the only way I found to live stream consistently in VR. And notice when I was live streaming, it's actually integrated into my slides. So I'm able to live stream in my slides by just pasting a link into the slides.com. And I can just easily rotate between the live stream and then going back to my slide presentation. So download WebRTC if you want to live stream. I kind of showed you guys how to copy paste. Give me some emojis if you're interested in learning how to actually paste or have links in VR that people can click on them and get a link appear in their browser. So if you want to hear about that, I can show you guys how to do that. Give me some emojis. If not, I can show you guys some more basics about events. So if you want to learn how to do a link in VR, give me some emojis. All right, we got a few. Okay. It's pretty simple. So I'll just show you guys how to do it. And this one's not nearly as hard as the other ones. So I'm going to go to Altspace. Let me get my live stream back. Where's my, let's see, where is it? Now, 1 second, we get the live stream back up. Edit. Let's start a new live stream. Okay. All right, so the live stream should be working now. Let's see. Still giving me a black screen. All right, one of the problems of editing your presentation for a live stream during it. Let's see. Okay, that should work. All right, nice. Let's go to the next page. Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's see now. All right, so we got that. Join room. There you go. Okay, so how to paste links in virtual reality. Give me the emojis if you see the Allspace webpage behind me. Give me some emojis. Emojis. All right, cool. So the way you paste links is actually pretty simple. So first you obviously have to have an account with Allspace. You go to More, so press the More button. Go to Worlds. You'll see a whole bunch. First, that's my, like, you just create one if you don't have one already. This is mine. The world you want to add a link. So for me, that's CSVR. This is my world I've created before. To edit, a little edit button on the administrator controls. That people usually miss. So this is like, and you have to search for these things, right? So you go to more additional options, and you see this bunch of code, like some HTTP like format stuff here, which looks really weird. So basically, you're gonna get this open blank field called overrides, all right? And I filled this in myself. And what you need to do is paste in this code here. And if you want to get access to this code, just DM me on Discord. I'll send it to you directly. And although it looks complicated, all you have to do is change the URL here. So if I wanted, right now this is going to a Google Forms link. If I wanted to go to something else like http quiz.csvr.com, I just change the link and that automatically updates the button. So all you have to do, go to your world, edit it, go to overrides, paste this code in, put the URLs you want, put the text you want to appear for the button, and then you're ready to be able to have a button in virtual reality. And when someone clicks on it, a link appears in their personal browser. So that's a really cool feature for when I'm teaching. I have that link to the right of me. And when I say, all right, guys, let's do a quiz, they click on that button, they go through the quiz. When I say close it, they close it. I can have multiple links. Right now I have 3 links, one for the slides presentation, one for a separate quiz. So it's a really useful feature that, again, is kind of hidden in Allspace. So if you want that code segment, join the Discord at csvr.com, DM me, and I'll send you the code, and you could do whatever you like with it in your world. So that's a really cool feature. So that's basically it. And you got to play with the positions. So like, this is just a position relative to my world, but you got to play with it and see which one is right for the position you want to place that button in your world. And if you guys have problems with like doing this when you try it out, if you do, just DM me on Discord and I'll be able to help you out. Okay. All right. So we're at 154. I want to get to the last bit of our slides. So again, like right now I'm live streaming. I can go to the next slide and just continue my presentation. Can you guys see the next slide? Did it show the next slide behind me? Give me some emojis if you see the next slide. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so I want to wrap up. Does anyone have any questions before I kind of wrap up the presentation? Press the raise hand icon if you have a question about how to post links, what we're doing with our events. All right. So I want to wrap up by talking a bit about our timeline. So, oh wait, we got one question. Let's go to end dial. End dial. Just press the megaphone button. There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
How many educators do you have currently that are putting together these courses for computer science and VR?
Yeah, great question. So right now we have 2 courses. Right now it's me, and then Matt Cook is potentially helping me with the Unity one. So just 2 educators for 2 courses. I'm trying to keep it as lean as possible. But yeah, 2 right now. 2 right now. I don't want to go too far in depth. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. And another thing I want to say is that actually for the courses that we've taught, like the first programming one, we don't actually create the content. Like we are actually going through an online course. For us, it's an online Purdue course, AP Computer Science. And basically what we do is students are assigned homework during the week that they have to complete. And then during our sessions, our weekly sessions on Saturday, what we do is we assess them on what they learned. So I'll give them a quiz, I'll poll them, I'll see what they did wrong, what they did right, and then go through questions with them. So our sessions is, again, more like a flipped classroom where you learn at home, you watch the videos at home, you can go through them at your own pace. But then when you come and meet in virtual reality, the goal is to test you guys to see where the holes were in your learning and then go over it with you. So for us, it's never going to be about the content. It's going to be about the collaboration. That's what we're trying to accomplish in virtual reality. It's figure out how do we unlock the use of virtual reality to connect people, to collaborate together. That's what we really focus on. So with the programming course, we're using an existing course, and for the Unity one, we most likely are going to be using a course offered by Unity for free as kind of the baseline for navigating through the course. So that's just how we do things. All right, so timeline. So probably in May, this is going to be, we're going to launch that website for all educators to be able to start publishing their own courses and us to provide support, talking about the issues that people have teaching VR. We're going to be giving them support to give them the quiz system, help set up their events, advertise the course to other students. So that'll probably come in May. Another thing that was interesting is that the majority of our learners were adult learners. So the biggest demographic for us was between 30 to 45 years old. 60% of our students are between 30 to 45 years old. And the majority of them, one, want to learn how to build side projects, which is awesome. And two, they're exploring new careers as a programmer. So what you'll notice is that the world is changing. More and more things are requiring computer science. Things are becoming more technical. And people are having to relearn skills to keep up. So a lot of adult learners are learning programming now to stay relevant, to build their skills, to become more marketable in the job market. So that's actually what we found, is that the majority of our learners are adults looking to pick up new skills and make themselves more attractive for either side projects or potential job opportunities. Things that are interesting for VR, one of the big limitations we have, especially with computer science, is that you cannot type in virtual reality. Obviously, that's a huge issue for computer science. We're programmers, right? You cannot program in virtual reality. But if you guys have heard, Oculus has recently introduced hand tracking for the Quest. So what we're hoping is that someone builds an application that will actually allow you to type in virtual reality, which isn't that hard considering the hand tracking is now here. All you need is a 3D model of a keyboard, and then whatever you type on the keyboard will be able to be inputted into your mobile browser in virtual reality. But when that happens, that will unlock huge potential for us to basically do the whole stack of learning computer science in virtual reality, including the programming portion. So we're really excited about that. Let's see. Emojis, all right, let's get some emojis. I know I've been talking for a while, so let's get some. How are you guys feeling about what we've gone over so far? Give me some emojis, guys. Emojis, emojis, emojis. Does everyone have any questions on what I just talked about there before I go on and kind of wrap up? All right, let's keep going. So I talked a little bit about my story already, about how I went through it. I took an online course, hated it. And I went to, what's astounding is that I was in high school about 5 years ago. Over 65% of high schools don't teach any level of computer programming. So that was my initial inspiration for starting this, is to provide better access to computer science education, because it's a huge problem in this country. And that's why we're trying to improve online learning, give people that access, but still maintain the quality of in-person learning through virtual reality. So it's a huge problem in high school, but again, adult learners are our main demographic. So our goal is, again, to provide high quality computer science education in virtual reality that's affordable and accessible. 65% of high schools don't teach computer science. These are my future plans, but I don't think it's really relevant. And lastly, this is me. This is not VR me. Can you guys see? I'm not able to see the screen, but can you guys see the screen? The emojis if you do. So this is what I look in real life. People have joked that I look just like my avatar. So I can't help if that's true. That's real life me. We're going to continue launching that Intro to Unity course. If you're interested in that Unity course, and go to csvr.com, go to the course links channel. You can find more information about it. You can sign up. We have about like 10 to 15 spots left, so I recommend doing that sooner rather than later. And yeah, we're really excited about where VR computer science education is going, and we hope to kind of lead that into the future and continue building our community. We also have events on AltSpace every week. We just got spotlighted, like I said, every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, so find us over there as well. And thank you guys so much for coming. Give me some emojis. I'll take some questions now, but let's get some emojis for everyone for sticking with me this whole time. I know it could be a... Let's get some... There we go. Does anyone have a question? I heard someone was raising their hand with the hand raise emoji, but I'm not sure. If you have a question, press the raise hand button on the right. That's going to allow me to call on you. So if you have a question, press the raise hand button. And if we don't have any questions... Oh, we got one. Gibson.
You all right? I came into this a bit late, so you're planning on creating computer science, teaching in this group sort of thing. I came in late.
Yeah, so you came in a bit late. So basically what I was saying is that we teach computer science classes in virtual reality. So in AltSpace, the thing you're in right now. And if you want to find more information about that course, you go to csnvr.com and then go to the channels, course links channel to find the link for it. So I've just been kind of talking about my experience doing that. All right, so do you have another question? Christy.
Hi, yes. I had a quick question about the quizzes. Is there an LMS? Do you have LMS integration by chance?
No, we do not. What is LMS?
Learning management system. So, for instance, when there are online learning modules through universities, essentially the results of a quiz could be exported to be stored for the students' own account on their learning.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, so no, that's a really useful feature. We don't have LMS, so the way our quiz works is that you're able to get the results from the quiz as an HTML file, so it shows the spread. But we don't have specific user accounts integrated yet. That's our next step is probably just to have multiple admins be able to run different quizzes themselves and manage them. So LMS of actually having students' accounts and linking answers, that's going to have to come a bit later. For right now, it's really just like a polling use case. But again, check out Google Forms. You could input your name there, which I guess could be some form of it. But we haven't found a good LMS that works well in VR. So if you find one, though, if anyone finds one, please let me know. And please share with the community because that's a really useful resource to have. Great question, though. I'm sure that's going to be integrated. Engage has one. I know Engage does have one, although I think they're free. They up to a certain point. I think maybe 20 users, and then they start charging. So that's the reason why we haven't really gone with Engage yet. Okay. Anyone have any other questions? Any other questions? Make sure I covered everything. All right, guys. So I'm gonna call it off here. We're already 5 minutes over. I've been in this headset for quite some time now, so I'm a little bit tired. But thank you guys so much for coming. Let's get some emojis. Again, find us on our Discord, csnvr.com. You want to learn more about the courses, what our meetups are in the future? Please do so and Discord. But thank you guys so much. All right, enjoy the rest of the summit. Yes, it's so fun. All right, I'm gonna go take maybe a little nap or something. Yeah. All right, guys. See ya.